Hi, it's Crypto Dave here. It's the 13th of April today, and welcome to another weekly crypto roundup video. So before we jump into the topics I'm going to be talking about this week, let's take a quick glance at the markets. And anybody who is following cryptocurrency, even kind of sporadically, will know that yesterday there was a massive kind of pump up in kind of price after a week where everything was tracking pretty much kind of sideways until yesterday kind of morning, and then we had a massive kind of influx, a massive bump up in price, not just Bitcoin, but pretty much all the altcoins. If we scroll down the list of the top sort of 20 or so, we'll see that everything is following this kind of same trend, which is really nice to see after a couple of months or 2 or 3 months of real kind of downtrend. So the market cap is currently 330 billion. I believe last week when I did the video, or it was actually only 5 days ago when I did the belated video, it was about 265 billion. So that's up somewhere in the region of $65 billion in the last kind of 5 days. So we've seen, real increases. Yesterday's increase then seems to have kind of consolidated, and we're getting another increase today. So things are kind of positive, very positive, and probably positive for the first time in certainly kind of a couple of months, where we've seen down swings and then little sideways movements and then more down swings. So whether this is the end of the kind of bear market completely remains to be seen. I think we're going to need another kind of week or so of kind of consolidated gains and increases in order to kind of sort of make that kind of assessment. But hopefully, when I spoke last week rather, and I said, hopefully we're at the bottom. Fingers crossed that is the case, and we'll see some nice increases from then. But anyway, I don't want to kind of spend too much time on the kind of markets. It's been sort of talked about ad infinitum on Reddit and in YouTube. So let's jump over to our first story. And this was one a little bit early in the week, and a lot of people are putting down that recent increase that we just kind of talked about to institutional money coming into the kind of sector. And this story kind of stuck out for me. I think it was about 4 or 5 days ago now when I kind of read it, and it was about George Soros. So he's a famous or infamous investor, depending on your kind of point of view. He's famous for shorting kind of markets. But in January he came out and he said some pretty negative things about Bitcoin, said that it was in a giant bubble and that the prospects weren't very good. Now obviously we've had a big tail off, maybe 2/3 in price since then, and it seems that he's now kind of coming around to the idea of cryptocurrency. So the big question everybody had like a few days ago when the market was still kind of quite suppressed was, would he be kind of coming in trying to short the market, or would he be looking at long-term growth? Now, from looking at stuff a few days ago before we saw the last 2 day of kind of spike, most people seem to be sort of 50-50 on whether this was going to be him coming in trying to short the market, which he's known for. He shorted the British pound famously a few decades ago. I think the Thai baht as well he's shorted. So a few people were saying, this is him going to come in and short the market. And then other people were like, well, the market is so suppressed now, maybe he's looking at the long term. So it's interesting that, somebody of this kind of magnitude, kind of investing wise, he's putting his money in, and he's not the only one by any stretch of the imagination. Alan Howard is rumored to be quite kind of bullish on crypto and moving to it. You've got the Rothschild family looking at kind of cryptos as a kind of long-term investment. But there's quite a nice article here on News BTC. As always, I'll put all these links below. But in order for the Bitcoin and the kind of cryptocurrency in general to reach kind of new highs or go on another bull run, we are going to need more money. I've been saying this for kind of a few weeks now, that we're going to need new money in the market, and it could be that these large kind of investment kind of funds and institutional money is what we really need to kind of pump the prices up and go on that next kind of bull run of increases. So it's interesting to see a real big player like this kind of taking an interest in cryptocurrency. A lot of people who were negative about it during December and January are now turning around. Jamie Dimon, everybody's favorite character to hate within kind of cryptocurrency, seemingly has kind of turned around and now a little bit on kind of cryptocurrency, said he wished he hadn't called it a giant Ponzi scheme and stuff like that. But anyway, this kind of institutional and kind of large scale kind of investment kind of money is what the space will need in order to kind of push on to the next high. But anyway, let's stop there and we'll jump on to our next story. And this is one that I noted down a few days ago. I've actually done subsequently a video on it, and this is Golem. So it's the launch of Golem's mainnet and their beta software. So I'll put a link to my video below that I did a couple of days ago on setting up Golem so you can become a provider and actually rent out your CPU. But if you're not interested in that and just want some information about kind of Golem, basically it was an early-ish kind of ICO that raised a huge amount of money in Ethereum, and it's a decentralized computing application. Their first beta version of the kind of software, so they had some alphas before for people involved in the project, but now anybody can download the beta software, and it will basically allow you to outsource your CPU cycles to the network, and they will then be used to do Blender. So it's a CGI kind of program. So it's a program called Blender, and they are going to be using this distributed computer, people's computers around the world, to do that CGI kind of power, kind of like hungry usage, and then that kind of gets sent back to the end user. So if you use Blender, it's an open source piece of software, CGI one that's used for making kind of intros and kind of animated films and stuff like that. But you can actually now outsource all the kind of processing, which would have taken days potentially before, to the network and get it done on the cheap. So it's a really interesting project. It's been a couple of years in coming to fruition, but they've got some really big plans on the horizon. I think it's going to be another year or so, probably till we get to that next stage of kind of machine learning and stuff like that. But it's nice that they now have a product, and very positive for Golem. So that's the next story. Let's jump over to the next one, and this is one I've talked about a bit before. Bittrex is one of my favorite exchanges. It has, when I first got into kind of crypto, or got back into crypto about a year ago, I was using Poloniex a lot, and Bittrex as well. And Bittrex tends to have a far wider selection of coins than Poloniex. For example, I've been buying Syndicate on Bittrex. I think it's available on Cryptopia as well, but Bittrex is the largest exchange for that. So it's a good exchange, and basically registrations have been down for months now. And this week it opened up registrations again. So I logged in just now, a few minutes ago. Let's refresh the page to see. Looks like you can sign up at the moment. The somewhat embarrassing thing for Bittrex is that they opened up registrations, and about half an hour later they had to close them again. There was such an influx of new users, which I think is got to be a positive thing. But it's been up and down a bit over the last few days, but it looks like it's open for registrations at the moment. So if you are interested in getting a Bittrex account, maybe jump on it now before potentially they close off registrations again. And then lastly, the last thing I wanted to talk about this week is Proof of Weak Hands 3D, and it's a system I thought I would never have to kind of talk about with the kind of the farce that went on with kind of BitConnect and Dogecoin and stuff like that. And I did experiments on these. I'm not going to be doing an experiment with this. Just know, just know, don't invest. It's a Ponzi scheme. I mean, I came across this a few months ago, and I thought it was kind of a joke site at first. If you scroll through, I mean, it's from the fact that their logo is a kind of pyramid to the speech and the kind of writing on the site is very tongue-in-cheek and amusing. And if you scroll down, I suppose there's a lot of people out there, maybe English isn't their kind of first language. They're just kind of reading it. They're not picking up the sort of satire and the sarcastic nature of the site. But this is being shielded by some big names out there who really should know better. People like kind of Supo Man, who basically constantly shills crap. To be fair, and this is something definitely stay away from. If you want, an amusing kind of chuckle, have a look through their site, their inspiration board, because bad ideas like ours are built upon the cumulative failures of the crypto community. And then, they've got Vitali there, you've got John McAfee there, and it's amusing if people didn't take it seriously. There's a shill kit, for God's sake, which is quite amusing in and of itself. And then if you scroll right to the bottom, it's got this section here, made possible by, and it's basically a who's who of within cryptocurrency in general. People think are kind of scams or kind of like dodgy kind of projects. You've got BitConnect there, Tether, which although I don't necessarily agree with it, people think maybe isn't kind of backed by the amount of money it has. You've got Mt. Gox with famous attack, BitGrail, Bitcoin Cash, which some people do not like. So it's done in a tongue-in-cheek way, but I have had some comments of people saying, I'm getting into proof of weak hands, what do you think about it? And I've had a few private messages. Just don't. don't get involved in it. It's what I thought was initially kind of a joke thing, but it seems to have taken on a bit of a life of its own. You've got people like Craig Grant sort of shilling it, and people like that. So, you know, do not get involved. It's a bad idea. Leave it well alone. Anyway, so what we will do now is do our weekly giveaway. So as I mentioned last week, we're doing a Burst giveaway this week. So let's just go and grab the price of Burst currently. And we've got the price here. Oops, let's just copy that. So I'm giving away $10 worth of Burst, like that, which is 482. Let's do 500 Burst. Okay, so this is the correct address for last week's video. Let's have a look. The amount of unique commenters, 33. So let's click start. And the winner is RCA Fans Forever, maybe next week. Well, it was you next week. So congratulations to you. I will send that over now. So let's see, send Burst. And 500 Burst, and I'll just grab my passphrase. So I will send that now. So that has been sent over. Congratulations again, RCA Fans Forever, for winning this week's giveaway. Now, next week I am going to be doing a Bean Cash giveaway. It's another staking coin. I've done a bit of trading with it this week. It had a nice kind of pump, so I flogged my Bean Cash and then bought back. So I gained a chunk more. I missed the syndicate pump a few days ago, so this was quite nice to jump on this one. But this is what I'll be giving away this week. It's a staking coin, as I mentioned before. It used to be called BitBean, is now being rebranded as Bean Cash. This is their website. I'll link to this below. But this will be the giveaway next week. So if you want to enter, leave a comment below, ask me a question, anything like that, and put in your BitBean or Bean Cash address. Anyway, that's it for this week. Congratulations to the person who won this week's giveaway. Good luck for next week, and I will see you hopefully on the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.